Hello everyone and welcome to this video. Now today I'm going to be looking at this album by The Police. It is Reggatta De Blanc. So I was asked recently by Shannon D I to review an album by The Police, and this is what I have chosen. So yeah, this was the group's second album, released on the 2nd of October in 1979. Generally the album was a pleasant one to record because they weren't under pressure to make commercial material. They weren't mega stars when they were writing this album. Recording took place at the relatively small Sorry Sound Studios. They were apparently offered by the record company to transfer to a more advanced studio. However, the band preferred to stick to the smaller studio with the same producer as their debut, a guy called Nigel Gray. As is often with bands' second albums, they usually drained of good material by the time they get round to recording a second album. They say it takes 3 years to write your first album, but 3 months to do your second. This certainly applied to The Police. At one point it was proposed to re-record some of the songs from their first record. However they dug out some pre-Police songs days to sort of pad out the album. Also drummer Stuart Copeland stepped up with 3 writing contributions for this album. The album was a significant commercial success, yielding 2 #1 singles in the UK. It also reached #1 in the charts here, and got to number 25 over in America. The Police wouldn't become mega stars there until the final years of their career. So I'm now just going to show you my vinyl copy of it here. I would quite like to get an upgrade. This one was very cheap. It isn't the greatest condition wise. A lot of wear and tear to the bottom and the back as well has some ring wear on it. Overall though, design is pretty sort of standard, and that no fancy inner sleeve with this one. I'm not sure whether the original ones came with it. Again, we're just on the standard A&M records. Yeah, I really could do with an upgrade of this album because my one there's a lot of scratches on it. So yeah, that is the record got over. Pretty basic standard packaging, I have to say. Okay, so now I'm going to go over each of the album songs. I will score each track out of 10, and then those scores will be used to give us a overall percentage marking for the album. Okay, so we start off proceedings with Message in a Bottle, which is an absolute classic song, an easy 10 out of 10 for me. I'll just start it's got a great riff to open the track, Andy Summers, fantastic riff to it. Lyrically, it is about a lone castaway on an island looking for company, and one day he waits a year, and one day he finds 100 billion bottles just his washed up on the shore. So yeah, great song, I think, really an excellent band performance as well. They all play the socks off with this track. Also a huge #1 hit for them, the first of I think about 6 #1s what they had. Stayed at #1 for 4 weeks. So yeah, a brilliant track, and rightfully so, a huge commercial success as well. And then the album does take a bit of a nosedive for me with the title song Reggatta De Blanc, which is an instrumental piece. This was born out of a band jamming session during their American tour. However, for me, it just doesn't do anything. It is very forgettable, musical arrangement. The guitaring on it, just really forgettable stuff, really. Sting is also sort of shouting out these random phrases and outbursts sort of oh, sort of different vocally things what would become a cliche for him. And this song also actually somehow won a Grammy Award for Best Instrumental Performance Song in 1979. I must say so. There mustn't have been very much tough competition for that category if this one won that award. But yeah, not a great track though. Really just filler, subpar filler for me. But then we we do pick up the album though with It's Alright For You, which I do quite like. This is a pretty solid rocking track, giving it a 7 out of 10. The verses are like sung quite fast, like reminds me like quite a bit of like Elvis Costello's song and like Pump It Up, like just like the way he sings it, like with like a lot of like attitude like in it, like quite fast paced as well. The chorus itself like is slightly like repetitive, like it is just like the line It's Alright For You repeated, but it rocks along really well. Like overall, just a solid album track. Next one up is called Bring On The Night, which has quite a mysterious start to it. Like I'll say, like it starts off with just like this, sort of like this soft electric guitar riff, and that sounds quite nice. Like however, beyond that, the song just really doesn't go like anywhere. Like in like the middle, like it's got some fancy like production-y frills like on it. Like this is like overall like a very like well produced album, like very sort of like not like synthetic, but like it does have like a lot of like sheen like over it, like everything like sounds very clear. However, for me, like where like it gets like a little bit muddled like in like this track, like it is like the middle section like sounds quite unfocused. This was a European single what was taken from the album, and it reached number 6 on the French charts, but for me it is just a sort of like like average album track. And then closing up side 1, we get a song called Deathwish, which I do quite like. This one. This one is another alright song, almost a sort of like fast-paced song, like after Bring On The Night. However, it is quite lacking in like the songwriting department. Like it's mostly like a guitar-based like jam. Like however, I do quite like it though. Like for what it is, like rocks along quite well. Like however, it does go on for like a little bit too long. Like about 5 minutes. This song, like they could have trimmed like about 2 minutes off it. Then it would have been like an 8 out of 10 for me personally. But as it stands, a 7 out of 10, like a decent track. Side 2 though starts promisingly with Walking on the Moon, which I'm giving a 9 out of 10 to. This is a good opener to side 2. Got this really sort of great, like atmospheric and quite sparse sound to it. I especially love the guitar sound on it, like that sustained like chords, like well it goes through the song, like it just sounds so great. Lyrically, like a little bit silly, like walking like on like the moon, like walking back from your ass, walking on the moon, like like a little bit simplistic lyrically, but I do love the bridge section, like the some may say, like I'm wishing my days away. That bit sounds great, like more than like redeems the song for me. Yet another like number 1 hit single like for the band, released in I think February 1980. So yeah, a great track there, Walking on the Moon. Next track in is called On Any Other Day, which is one of 3 Stuart Copeland penned songs here. This one though I'm only giving a 4 out of 10 to. Reasons being, I think his vocals are like very sort of subpar, and like lyrically this song is trite. Basically, like it's like a man's like sort of like daily routine, like he's sort of like getting up like out of bed, like sort of like getting like a shower and that, like and like he's listing like all like these bad things like what happened to him, like his wife like burning like the scrambled egg, like getting bitten by the dog, and like his daughter like running away. It just gets a little bit repetitive, like a little bit like novelty, like after like a while. The actual line On Any Other Day, like I think that gives that song quite well. Like whoever like that doesn't come in like until like the last bit like off like the song. So yeah, for me, a real not so great song. Next up is also one of the more popular songs from the album, The Bed's Too Big Without You, which is a good track overall. Like I do like the guitar riff, what like punctuates this song, like that's quite effective. Lyrically, like it concerns like the end of like a relationship and like whatnot. I do quite like the middle section like as well. Like it gets like quite sparse, like instrumentally, like it's just the bass and the drums, like they both work quite well together. That certainly like keeps the song interesting for me. However, it isn't quite as good as like the other 2 singles. Like it really lacks like a big chorus, like what like Message in a Ball and Walking on the Moon both have. But yeah, not a bad track there though. The Bed's Too Big Without You. Have we got touchdown? Can we be? And then then, yeah, we get like another sort of fillery song, unfortunately, a track called Contact, which I'm giving a 5 out of 10 to. This is another Stuart Copeland song, which kind of seems like a bit of like another parody track. Like lyrically, like I get like the sense like it's about sort of like human contact like between like two humans. But like also like he sort of like mentions like contact lenses like as well, like he can't find like his contact lenses like to make like contact like with like other people. Yeah, so yeah, just a wacky song like I think, but also not very good either, unfortunately. Yeah, another filler song. And now the penultimate track is called Does Everybody Stare, which just is the final Stuart Copeland song. And like actually this one like does stand up, like I do quite like this one. Like another quite quirky song, like however like it is sort of like more piano based, this track, which is a different sound like for the Police. Like it is like a nice break like from like the usual sort of like reggae rock like what like they do. The chorus like has like a good like beat like going behind it. Like overall, yeah, just another good song. Like however, like a little bit like forgettable, like melodically. And then to close, we get a song called No Time This Time, which is a sort of very, very fast-paced track to end on. Like I believe this is one that might have been left over like from like the debut album. Like it certainly has like a more sort of like punky like attitude like and feel to it. However, the reason why this one like is let down, like only getting a 6 out of 10, like is because it seems like they've tried to like sort of like update like that punk sound like what they got like on like the first record, like by putting like this sort of horrible like processor like on Sting's vocals, so it just like isn't required. Like it just like lets the track down for me. Like the chorus itself like is quite good, like however like as an actual song like is like a little bit like subpar for me. Like a toe tapping track, but yeah, overall just an okay song for me. Okay, so that's us come to the end of this album review, and overall this album scores 66%. I would say overall, yeah, average album for me. I'll start with like the good things, like the playing and like the musicianship like on this album like is exceptional. Like the 3 members of the Police were all like among like the best in their generation, like at like each of like the instruments. Like they all play like really well. Like there's a great like chemistry like between the band. However, like in parts of this album, like it sounds like it lacks like passion. Sounds like quite like robotic, like very much like the Police, like on autopilot. Because a lot of like these songs like just like meld into one another. Like a lot of like forgettable tracks like on here, they all have a very sort of similar sound, very sort of similar style, like for the most part. Like and like apart from like the 2 singles, Message in a Bottle and Walking on the Moon, nothing else really stands out like on this album. I would say like the Police, like they did go on to make some great albums like later on like into like their careers. Like I love like the Synchronicity album, like also is it called Ghosts in the Machine, like I think like that's like also like a good album because they're all taking their music like to slightly different like territories. Like here though, like it is still quite raw, like quite like rough and ready, which is good like on like certain songs. Like however, like as a whole album, like they couldn't sustain the level of quality achieved like on like the singles. Okay, so yeah, that is me finished this album review. I would like to know what you think of this album down below, like in like the comments. Like I'm sure there'll be some people out there like who like really love this album, like certainly like would want to like defend it. But yeah, also if you have any albums what you would like me to review, like any like requests, like please do leave them also down below, and I will see you all next time for the next video. Goodbye.